once we will cover central limit theorem, that time you will see that many problems from various what we call it distribution we can solve with the help of normal distribution along with central limit theorem. So if both are, if you are taking together, then definitely it is giving a larger uh, domain in which you can apply this problem. So that's why just it is right now in this lecture I will focus on to calculate probability using Gaussian distribution. It is all about just how to compute probability using Gaussian distribution, and most important in that how we can get a concrete formula through a standardization of normal distribution or Gaussian distribution. So that a standard process is very important in order to compute various probability using either normal distribution or approximate normal distribution thanks to central limit theorem. So you need to know first, in first hand you need to know what is a standard normal distribution, then how we can transform in order to get any other general kind of normal distribution or Gaussian distribution from there. And after that, third question would be that if you are having any distribution, can we approximate that distribution using normal distribution? Yes, we can do that. I will discuss in next module. So three things you have to focus here. So first two things I will talk here, and third one I will discuss in module 3. So coming to outline of this lecture, first I would like to talk about a standard normal distribution. It is very important that, and in most of book the notation for a standard normal distribution is very specific. They are taking z meant for a standard normal distribution, and generally when you take x may be any kind of distribution, but z is meant for what we to denote a standard normal distribution. And what is the beauty of this standard normal distribution? Definitely it is a normal distribution with mean 0 and variance 1. So that means unit variance. So it is having a very nice structure, and you can say that it is just symmetric about origin, because mean is 0, so it is symmetric about origin, and hence various calculation would be very simple if you try to express any other normal random variable in term of as a linear transformation of, if you take talk about any normal random variable, that would be just a linear transformation of the standard normal random variable. And what is happening that it is one kind of that in plus 2 you might have already gone through, that is change of origin. One you are saying that two information here is what, that how you can get any general normal distribution from the standard normal distribution. So two things you do, a it is composition of two transformation. One is translation, another one is what we call it rotation, scaling and translation. So translation factor will come with respect to mean, and a scaling factor will come with respect to that variance term what we are calling it. So if you take any general kind of normal random variable, so we know that it is having a mean that we denote it by mu, and it is also having a variance. So if you want to see the relation between this general normal random variable with a standard, then we can say that a scaling factor will come from this variance term, and that translation factor will come from this mean term. And we know that a scaling from linear algebra, a scaling and what we call it a scaling and rotation, rotation among what we call it rotation and scaling and translation. These three are basic linear transformation, basic. And most of, if you talk about most of linear transformation can be written as a composition of these, what first call it a scaling. Scaling is a linear transformation, just you want to scale the argument. Okay, second one is what we call it rotation. You can say that means you are rotating the argument by some angle, rotation. And third important elementary transformation is that translation. So all these three are translate simple kind of linear transformation. And what I would like to say that you can say in such a way, when you perform any kind of linear transformation, you are doing just composition of these three. Anyhow, you have to look how we are composing these three, and each one is are later in linear algebra you will see that each one can be also carried out through some matrix of that corresponding transformation. Also you can get it matrix representation of a linear transformation. So it is very easy to deal with matrix rather than linear transformation. And one more interesting feature with translation is that what you do, you can get an affine structure of linear structure. So linear structure, that means what we call it, in suppose you are in R2, then if you take a line which is passing through origin, then this would be what? It would be a linear subspace. And what you do, it is a linear subspace. Why? Origin belongs to this one and satisfy all the properties of being a space, vector space. Now if you do translation, either right translation or left translation, so this one is what we are calling it L plus alpha. You translated the linear subspace L by one amount alpha above. Okay, so you are this translated version of the linear subspace is no more what we call it, no more subspace, but it is having the same feature what linear subspace L is having. And apart from that, here we can give a name of this one. We are calling this L plus alpha affine. So these are affine kind of affine space, or affine, simply we can say that affine word. Affine subspace or affine hyperplane also you can call it. This one is linear space, linear subspace. Okay, so that is the difference. So simply get a linear subspace and do a translation, you will get a affine subspace. And affine is also having similar kind of property what subspace can provide. So that's way I'm talking about application point of view. So same properties. That's way translation also. This one is a what we call it linear transformation, and a very important kind of linear transformation. So we will see that by using all these composition, applying over this standard normal distribution, we can get various normal distribution. And in second part of this lecture I will talk about application of normal distribution. That means mainly here I will talk problem where it is related with computing probability of error and probability of something that has been distributed in normal fashion. And one thing you will see that when we are calculating probability of error, then error is always people are taking in what they are assuming that error is normally distributed. Most of time in problem you might have already seen in many of the courses, it would be normally distributed with zero mean and some variance. Okay, some variance it would be normally distributed. So it is actually not normally distributed in the ground level. What is happening that in total, the total error is normally distributed, but if you talk about individual error, it may not be normally distributed. Only total error is normally distributed. Why? It would be because of the central limit theorem that I will talk in next module. Because of this, total error is having a normal distribution or approximate normal distribution with zero mean and some variance. Okay, so coming to first part of this lecture, here I would like to talk about standard normal distribution. What is this? Okay, so it is all about that with respect to any variable you can random variable you can define a standard normal a standard random variable you can define a standard random variable. That means it is all about what we are calling it a standardization is a technique, or also you can say that it is a transformation through which you can convert any random variable into a specific kind of random variable where you will aware of what is mean and what is variance. So a standard random variable is having one beauty, that you know the mean of that random variable, also variance. Why? Because mean would be 0 and variance would be 1. That is the. Otherwise, if you take any general kind of a random variable, you need to compute mean and variance. But here in the case of once you apply this standardization, then mean and variance would be known to you. So that is the approach. Okay, another approach is coming normalization. So you can find the relation between standardization and normalization. You can Google it out, you will see the relation. Okay, so what is standardization? So suppose we are having a random variable x with mean mu and the variance sigma square. Now we are willing to perform the standardization of this x. So how we can perform this standardization, and the standard random variable we will denote it by z. Z is meant for a standard random variable. Okay, so how we can standardize this? So we take the random variable, deviate it by the corresponding mean of the random variable, and divide it by the corresponding standard deviation. So here what everything we are having in right hand side, we know about x is given to us, mu is actually mean of x, that also we know, because x is given to us means we know the distribution of x, and we also know the variance of x, and hence we can calculate the standard deviation of x. So by just applying those things, we are defining a new random variable, that one is x minus mu divided by sigma. So this random variable we are denoting by z. Yes. Now tell me, am I audible or not?
Audible, sir.
Okay, fine. There was some internet issue, so I'm going to start it again. So tell me whether slide is visible or not here. Is it visible? Okay, thank you. So here I was talking about standardization process of a random variable. So here we are having a random variable x with mean mu and variance sigma square. Now we are applying the transformation. That means first we deviate the random variable by corresponding mean, and after that we are dividing with standard deviation. In that process we are getting a new random variable z, which is a function of linear function of x, and that random variable z is having one interesting feature is that mean of this random variable z would be 0. You can easily compute it through this relation of z and x. What you do, if you want to calculate mean of z and apply the linear property of expectation, we know that mean of z would be what, uh, uh, here variance is what, constant, so it will come out of the expectation. Anamika Mahadu or Anamika. And just we need to calculate expectation of x minus mu. Again, what is happening, that mu is what, constant, so expectation of a constant always happens to be the number itself, so it would be what, uh, it becomes uh, what, 1 by sigma into expectation of x minus mu. Mean of mu is mu because it is a single number, and also we know that what is the expectation of x, that means mean of x, that one is also mu, so it would be mu minus mu means 0. So expectation of z is that transform random variable is 0. Now similarly we can calculate what is the variance of z. So we apply the same variance formula for z, calculate the variance of z, and if you are going to calculate in that process, what will happen, so you will get the value of z equal to 1. Z variance of z, it would be equal to 1. So easily you can calculate all these. So here what mu and sigma square you need to know for x, but if you are defining a new random variable from x as a standard random variable, then that would have known mean, that one is 0 and variance is 1. That both things you know that. It is very much simple to you. It is very much symmetric about origin here, also you can say that. That means you are starting from the origin, either you go left or right, one sigma deviation left or one sigma deviation right. So further I will talk about geometry of this as well. So z, we can say that z is just measured in different unit. Z is measured in different unit, at that unit we are calling it a standard unit. So if you are talking about what is the unit of Z, x may have any kind of unit, but if you define Z, so what would be unit of x and units of mu, both would have same. Suppose you are measuring height, then unit of height x would be what, some kind of centimeter, meter or something like that. And if you are finding standard deviation of those measured height, that would be also in unit of what we calling, again it would be meter or centimeter, something like that. So you are just taking ratio, so just those things would be normalized, or what we calling standardized, simply we are calling it. So the unit of z always happens to be a standard unit, so we are calling it a standard unit. And if you see for a histogram of a wide variety of distribution, that would be what, nearly the same when we apply a standardization. It would be always same when we are going with appropriate or a standard unit, some kind of a standardized unit, then it would look like same. Okay, so the probability density of a standard normal distribution will have mean 0 and variance 1. So what would be the density for normal distribution? We had already defined like this way. So here always used to give suffix. So suppose x is a normal random variable, so density of this one was defined in term of variance and mean in as an exponential function. So 1 by sigma times a square root of 2 pi times exponential of minus 1 by 2 x minus mu divided by sigma whole square. So this one was the what, PDF of normal random variable. But if we do a standardization of x through this way, then I told that mean would become it would be 0 and variance would be 1. So for a standard normal random variable, mean would be 0, variance would be 1. So what would be density? Density of the standard normal random variable would be 1 by a square root of 2 pi into what we call it, this exponential term, minus 1 by 2 into z square. So very simple form you are taking here. So from here, the what a structure of the density, you can claim that here what is mu, mean is 0 and variance is 1. That means a standard deviation is 1 easily. And the associated CDF, how we denote it, how we got CDF? CDF, we are CDF is what? Probability up to x. So we get it in the, it is a, what, continuous random variable. So we will get it by integrating this PDF up to x. So we need to integrate this PDF up to x. We are integrating 1 by a square root of 2 pi is constant, so it will come out of from the integral. But remember that this one is having very nice structure, but it is very difficult to get explicit form of this integral. We can numerically calculate this CDF of a standard normal random variable, but if you are willing to get explicit form of this integral, then very difficult to get explicit form of this one. So this is the directly let it be in the same integral form, there would be no issue. And this is the what we are calling it the CDF of a standard normal random variable. But here I haven't taken notation f, capital F. I have taken notation phi. Phi is especially meant for whenever you say that phi of x is a CDF, by default you should say that it is actually CDF of a standard normal random variable. So it is a specific notation for what we call a standard normal random variable. So you can take it Z notation, there is no issue, because Z meant for a standard normal random variable. So integrate up to Z and replace this Z by here t, or you can take it x, there is no t. Whatever variable you observe inside the integral, that we are calling it dummy variable. So it is not meaning you can take any representation of the variable inside integral, because that one is a dummy variable. That would be exhausted at all after applying the integration, so there would be no issue. You can take you can deal with any integral, any notation of the variable inside the integral. Okay, so this is all about a story of a standard normal random variable. So we had representation of PDF and CDF as well. So what further we can talk about? So PDF and CDF of we had already seen the formula for PDF and CDF of a standard normal random variable. Now here we will look for visualization. How does it look like? So visualization is coming like this way. So this one is the plot of what we call it PDF of a standard normal random variable. So you can easily see that this one is origin, x is observing, or you can say that simply z is observing value along this horizontal axis, and the corresponding CDF, that PDF of this standard normal random variable is observing value along vertical axis, and this one is origin, and it is this plot is very much symmetric about origin, this vertical axis very much symmetric about the vertical axis. So if you are willing to calculate probability, if you see, this one is the midpoint of what we call it this distribution. So we can say that 50% of area falls in left and 50% of area falls in right. That means if someone is saying that what is the probability that Z is taking value up to 0, then probability, that means up to 0 means 50, you are talking about 50% area of this shaded region. Okay, so that means 50% means 0.5. So 0.5. If someone is asking what is the probability that Z is falling in this region, so that probability again you will denote it by Z is greater than or equality, also you can put it equal to 0. That one is also 50%, so this area would be also 50% or 0.5, probability would be 0.5. If you are just coming here, you are trying to calculate this shaded region, then what would be, you are coming up to 0.7. That means this shaded region is covering 70% area. That means probability is 70.7, probability is 0.7. Likewise, you can, it is very easy to calculate probability when you are just proceeding with a standard normal random variable. So that's where from the PDF. Now next what we do, we can find the CDF of this one by integrating the PDF up to X. Okay, so this is the plot of CDF of standard normal random variable. So it is you can also see that here there is a change of what we call it concavity. It is happening at 0 at z equal to 0, you can say that, like. So, and symmetry nature also you are getting it, and there is a change of concavity. Everyone might be aware of what is meaning of change of concavity, and this point you can say that it is point of inflection, something like that. It is just here concavity is up up up, then down down down. It is simply I would like to highlight that from the calculus point of view there is a change of point of change of what we call it concavity is happening at here. Okay, and it is sigmoid in nature. The plot of CDF is sigmoid in nature, but there is no explicit form of the CDF of a standard normal random variable, but we can have approximate formula of those CDF we can get later. I will talk. Now I'm coming to talk about application of Gaussian distribution in order to compute the probability. So I need to introduce few things in order to compute the probability. So first one, I will introduce uh, any kind of general normal random variable as a linear transform of a standard normal random variable. So here consider, suppose z is a standard normal random variable, and we are transforming z uh, through this transformation. That means we are scaling z by sigma. One sigma, just sigma consider as a quantity, anything it may be. Okay, so sigma, any positive real number, simply call it. So here at hand we are having a standard normal random variable z, and then we are doing a scaling of z by sigma, and then after we are translating that scaled z by amount mu. So we are having a new random variable x, we are calling it. Then what is the beauty of this x? It is directly coming from transformation of z. So x is again it is a normal random variable, and what is the mean of x? Mean of x would be the mu, this translated part through which you have translated. Okay, and what would be the variance? Variance would be this a square of this scaling factor. So from z you got x with uh, mean mu and variance sigma square as a normal random variable. So we can say that x is a normal random variable with mean mu and variance sigma square. So directly at hand you had z, and from there you just got to know about x. So that is the transformation of a standard normal random variable to any normal random variable with finite mean and finite variance. Conversely, we can see that suppose we are having a normal random variable, any kind of normal random variable with mean mu and sigma variance sigma square, then just apply a transformation like this way. That means this is the process of standardization. Do a standardization with non-mean and non-variance, then you will get a standard normal random variable. Z would be a standard normal random variable with mean 0 and variance 1. So you got it. So both vice versa, both are true. Transformation is true from both sides. Now, once here, now I will go for from mean to what we call it, from a standard normal random variable to any normal random variable. My journey is from a standard normal random variable to any normal random variable. How we can proceed it? So, in order to proceed, so everything, that means we know everything about z, but we don't know about x. Oh, so only we know that we perform transformation of z to convert into x, so that we know. So through that transformation, that means we are having this idea, this information. Through that we will try to find out what is the density of x and what is the CDF of x. Both things we will try to find. So first we will find CDF. I told that that cumulative distribution function is more generalized version, unified version, and if it is continuous, first find CDF and differentiate it, you will get your PDF. So how we can find CDF of x? Just blindly go to find the CDF through the definition of CDF. What does it say? It is talking about probability up to x. So probability up to x means that probability that x is taking value up to x,
and now x is what? It is written in term of z, so we will replace x in term of z, and here what we will do? We will do substitution, that we will do little bit manipulation in order to convert this probability in term of completely in term of z, or in term of CDF of a standard normal random variable. So we are converting like this way. After the transformation, we say that this one is the CDF of x. Now once you are coming here, it is talking about probability that z, that a standard normal random variable, is taking value up to this point. So it is up to this point. Each fixed x, this quantity would be fixed. So it is talking about CDF of a standard normal random variable. So and hence we can say that this, how we denote it? We can denote it phi of x minus mu divided by sigma. So CDF of any general kind of normal random variable is equal to this CDF of standard normal random variable. This is the transform version. So always be transformation. So we will apply this relation to calculate CDF of any normal random variable with the help of a standard normal random variable. And afterward, what we will do? We will differentiate this CDF in order to get PDF of x. So just differentiate CDF of x. After differentiating, what will happen? This factor will, sigma will come out as 1 by sigma, and we will have derivative of this CDF of z only. And we know that derivative of this one, what does it talk about? Derivative of this one, it will talk about density of a standard normal random variable. Density here we have in place of argument z, z is actually x minus mu divided by sigma square. So it would be x minus mu sigma square. It will take this form. So substitute all these in the formula of PDF of a standard normal random variable. It was what? It was square root of 2 pi into exponential of what we call it minus 1 by 2 z square. So in place of z, what we are having? X minus mu divided by sigma z square. We are replacing in place of z, we are having this. That's why this term is coming. This is your z, and 1 by sigma is this sigma is coming from the factor 1 by sigma, and rest of thing you can see that what is this? This one is the CDF of any, this one is PDF of any normal random variable with mean mu and variance sigma square. So that directly you derived it from a standard normal random variable. Now few more things I will talk here regarding that in pictorial version as well also. So if x is a normal random variable with mean mu and variance sigma square, that means in short we are denoting x as n of sigma square and mu. Then what kind of information we will see here? So the PDF of x can be written in term of this one also. So while calculating probability associated with normal random variable, there would be no much use of PDF. Directly we will use CDF. Why? Because CDF is having explicit relation with directly the CDF of a standard normal random variable. The CDF of this normal random variable x can be given by CDF of a standard normal random variable by this transformation. Okay, so if you are, suppose you are willing to calculate probability of x between that observing value between A and B, so how we can calculate? So we can calculate it through what? CDF approach. What it says? It says that just we compute CDF at B and CDF at A and take difference of that. So through that formula. And what is f of B? F of B is this phi of B minus mu divided by sigma, and f of A is what? It is phi of A minus mu divided by sigma. So those easily you can get. And most of time what is happening, that you will be provided with table, normal table. That normal table is containing the value of phi. That means value of CDF of a standard normal random variable. It would be given to you in the normal table. What we definitely, if I'm asking any question, I will provide that table. So various plot, you can see it like the various situation of the normal random variable, you can see it like this way. This is a normal random variable with mean 2 and variance 1. This is a normal random variable with mean 2 and variance 2. This one is a normal random variable with mean -1 and a standard deviation of 1. So there are various situations. So all things, what you do, if you try to see, all these has been translated from what we call it a standard normal random variable. All translation has been done in the proper way. So this one was the standard normal random variable with mean 0 and variance 1, and so here we can denote it by z and phi of z. It is symmetric about both. So it is just you can see that this one is, you can say that original one, and other are what, transform version of this original one, a standard one. So simply you can say like this, all these are translated version. So translation you are doing with the help translated and a scale, translated and a scale version of one, you can say that all these 2 3 4 5 are translated in a scale version of 1. So a scaling and translation are given by mean and standard deviation. You can see that all these are given to you. So I will talk about first problem here, computing probabilities using a standard normal random variable. How we can compute here? So for that we have taken a normal random variable which is having mean -5 and variance 4. Remember that variance would be given here. Never say that it is a standard deviation. It would be always sigma square. So usually you can say that just identify what is mu. Mu is -5 and sigma square is what we call it 4. That means a standard deviation is 2. A standard deviation is 2. So all these information are given to you. Now question is coming that you have to find the probability that x is value, x is taking value up to 0. Second question is find the probability that x is taking or observing value from -5 to -3. Then third question is that find the conditional probability that x is observing value greater than -3 given that x is greater than -5. So this condition, all these you have to calculate it, and a few more information are given here that the value of that CDF of a standard normal random variable for z equal to 1, it is 0.8413, and CDF for that 0, z equal to 0 is 0.5, because 50% it covers just 50% area, that either leftward or rightward. So generally it would be probability up to 0, that means up to 0, it is like that left portion area that is given by that one is 50% or 0.5 what we are. So these information are given to you. So now with the help of this we will try to find these three probability. How we can find? So simply we can convert this probability that x is observing value up to 0. It is what, it is just talking about CDF of x for x equal to 0, CDF, and CDF of x, it can be converted into the CDF of the standard normal random variable through this one is what, x. So we transform it into what, x minus mu divided by sigma. So x is here 0. So 0 mu is what, -5, minus into minus what, it becomes plus. And what is the standard deviation? 2. So 5 by 2, that's why 5 by 2 is coming. So we need to calculate value of 5 by 2, that means value of 5 at 0.2.5. So if you try to see in the plot of CDF of what, a standard normal random variable, so it is coming like this way, asymptotic to 1, it will go up to infinity, and this point would be 0.5 at 0, 0.5, and where is this point, this at 0, value of CDF is 0.5, and if you go rightward, so 2.5 would be here somewhere right of 0, here definitely this value would be greater than 0.5. So it would be what, from the plot easily you can say that it is greater than 0.5, and hence what is that exact value? If you see, you can see it from the normal table, that value would be 0.99. So most of the area are covering by this value. So that's why 99 99% area is covered by this one. So probability is 0.99. So here x, what is the probability that x is observing value up to 0? It is 0.99. So you can raise a question, 99% accuracy is coming. What is meaning of that? But just focus on x. X is having a mean -5. That means x is symmetric about to -5. So if you want to plot the CDF of x, so it is coming something like this. So -5 would be somewhere here. It is symmetric about. So plot is coming like this way. This is the situation. Definitely at 0 0 almost the tail is having 0 kind of probability. So most of probability is contained before 0. So that's why 90 most area are coming falling here in this region. So that's why probability that x is up to 0, it is 99% of 0.99 that you are getting from due to this mean shifting. Mean has been shifted towards leftward. Okay, from the standard situation, what we are calling it. Now next question is that calculate the probability that x is observing value between -7 to -3. So how we can calculate? Again we will apply the same transformation. So we will convert this into what? First convert into CDF. So in the term of CDF of f, what it would be? It would be difference of value of CDF at point -3 and -7. -7. Now here x is -3. What is meaning of -3? So this -3, if you talk about -3 means it will be transform into x minus mu. Mu is -5, so it would be 5 plus 5 divided by the variance, a standard deviation, a square root of variance, a standard deviation. So if you calculate, it would be equal to what? It would be equal to 1. Similarly, if you translate in term of a standard normal random variable, it will be translated into in this form. It can be translated, and this has been translated into in this form. So just we need to find the value of CDF at 1 and -1. Now one more question is coming. So we are having symmetry nature in the case of a standard normal random variable, also in the case of normal random variable. So due to that, we can claim that the value of CDF of a standard normal random variable at z equal to -1, it would be what? It would be equal to 1 minus value of CDF, a standard normal random variable, at 1. It would be how? So from symmetry you can see it like this way. So just I need to plot only CDF or PDF. CDF also you can visualize from the plot of PDF as well. There is no, because CDF is talking about probability up to that. So that's way. So suppose this we are plotting a standard normal random variable. Okay. So where would be 1? 1 would be here. Where would be -1? -1 would be here. It is more smooth here. Okay. Minus, take it symmetric nature. So -1 would be here. Equidistance from origin, 1 and -1. Now what is meaning of phi? This one phi at -1, it is talking about probability that a standard normal random variable is observing value up to -1. Up to -1. And what is value of this one? It is meaning of that probability that a standard normal random variable is observing value up to 1. So this is up to 1. This area, this probability area will give up to 1. Then what is meaning of this one? What is this one? This one is actually 1 minus, total area is 1. So 1 minus this area. 1 minus probability up to 1. And that we denote it by phi of 1. Phi of 1. Now if you geometrically see this area this tail area. You can also say that it is whatever see after 1, that you can say that tail, right tail. Whatever you are seeing after before -1, you can say that it is left tail. So if you try to zoom it out from this symmetry, you can say that this area and this area both are equal. So and hence we can say that this area is also having value 1 minus phi of 1, phi of 1. That's why we are writing phi of -1. What is the meaning of this one? This one is phi of -1, and that value is also